The rain fell in heavy sheets that night, soaking the dirt road that led to the old ranch. The air smelled of dust and sorrow. She ran barefoot, clutching her torn dress, every step echoing the weight of her fear. Her voice trembled as she reached the porch, pounding on the wooden door with the last of her strength. "I'm begging you, hurry up," she cried out, her breath breaking between sobs. The door opened to reveal a tall man with weathered hands and tired eyes. The rancher, known for his silence more than his kindness, stood motionless for a moment. The lantern light flickered over her face, pale, bruised, desperate. He didn't ask questions. He simply stepped forward, wrapped his arms around her trembling frame, and carried her inside. Her body was cold, drenched, and shaking uncontrollably. He set her near the fire, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders. "Who did this to you?" he asked quietly, but she couldn't answer. Her lips quivered, eyes darting toward the door as if someone might burst through it. The rancher's jaw tightened. He recognized that kind of fear. It was the kind that didn't fade overnight. Hours passed in silence, broken only by the crackle of firewood. When dawn came, he found her asleep on the couch, clutching a small pendant in her hand. A child's name was engraved on it. He realized she wasn't running from something, she was running toward something she'd lost. Days turned into weeks. She began helping around the ranch, mending fences, cooking, and tending to the horses. She never spoke of that night, and he never pressed her. But sometimes, in the quiet hours before sunrise, he'd see her standing in the field, staring toward the road, whispering a name only the wind could carry. Then one evening, a group of men rode up to the ranch. They weren't strangers to him, men from town, rough and restless. They demanded to see her. The rancher's hand went to the rifle leaning by the door. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned. "There's no one here for you," he said. The men laughed, but when he stepped out, the cold steel in his eyes made them hesitate. "You touch one more step on my land," he said, "and you won't walk back." The message was clear. They left, cursing into the wind. That night, she stood by the fire again, tears shining in her eyes. "Why did you do that?" she whispered. He looked at her for a long time before answering. "Because no one deserves to live in fear." Weeks later, a small carriage stopped by the ranch. A boy jumped out, thin, with the same eyes as the pendant she carried. She dropped to her knees, tears streaming as the boy ran into her arms. The rancher stood at the porch, hat in hand, watching a broken soul being made whole again. When she turned to thank him, she found him already walking away toward the stables, the faintest smile tugging at his lips. For the first time in years, the ranch felt like a home again, not just for him, but for the woman who had once arrived crying, "I'm begging you, hurry up." The boy clung to his mother as if afraid she might disappear again. His small hands gripped her tightly, and she whispered promises into his hair, promises that this time, she would never leave. The rancher watched quietly from a distance, his heart heavy yet strangely light. He had seen loss in every form, but never the kind of love that rebuilt itself from ashes. That night, the smell of stew filled the kitchen. For the first time, laughter echoed off the old wooden walls. The boy told stories about the city, about the kind woman who hid them, about how he never stopped believing his mother would come back. She listened with tears in her eyes, her hand trembling as she brushed his hair aside. The rancher sat across the table, silent but smiling. It felt foreign, this peace, this warmth that demanded nothing and healed everything. When the boy finished eating, he ran outside to pet the horses. She watched him go, then turned to the rancher. "You saved us," she said softly. He shook his head. "You saved yourself. I just opened the door." The moonlight poured through the window, painting the room in silver. She looked around, the worn furniture, the old clock, the gentle hum of crickets outside, and realized it wasn't just a place of refuge. It was a new beginning. As the night deepened, she stood by the door, watching the rancher tend to the horses. He moved slowly, almost reverently, as though every life under his care mattered. In that quiet moment, she understood what he had done for her wasn't just an act of mercy. It was love in its purest, most unspoken form, the kind that doesn't ask to be seen, only felt.